I'm Max Crosby, and welcome to episode 58 of the Who's on Top podcast.
And welcome back to episode 58 of Who's on Top. I'm your host, Ori. It is April 19th, 2021. And boy, do we have an action-packed episode for you. Let's start off. We got some scores, some tip-offs, some Super League debate, some NFL draft preview, and a lot of guests. So let's start off introducing our regular analysts. We have the Russian machine himself, Ellis Gordon.
What's good, guys?
The Ithaca assistant basketball coach, Daniel Fox.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That doesn't make any sense at all, but glad to be here. Glad to see your face.
It's because you got a job sifting through all the Ithaca women's basketball, no?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
I was hyping you up. Fine, we'll go.
Oh, okay.
The bandwagon Red Sox fan, Daniel Fox. Wait,
Well,
that's not right.
that is as disrespectful as you could possibly say, and I wish I was next to you right now so I could strangle your little bowling ball ass.
Funny piece of trivia. Last time Daniel and I wrestled, I managed to lick his face twice. So let's move on to the fencing captain, Jeremy Giles.
Always at your service. That's all.
And screen off, engaging in some licentious activities, we got the Frisbro Jacob Kasdan.
What's up, guys? Let's talk some sports.
That was great.
That was amazing. Incredible.
Was that actually
we're gonna re-record that, okay?
No, leave it. I love that.
No. Why not? Wait, I'm confused. Was that the prank the whole time?
Yes.
Did Ori know
that.
that too? Or no?
No one knew.
No.
That was really funny.
All right, we'll just move
That
on.
fucking shocked me.
All right, you're leaving it in? All right, what's up, guys? Let's talk some sports.
Yeah.
And finally, our esteemed guest, all the way from Canada, Maximilian Crosby.
Greetings.
Oh, God. All right. After a hefty introduction, let's move on. And we have some score roundups from our predictions from the past 2 or 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks?
5.
4 weeks? 5 weeks.
Actually,
Wow.
7, but 5 weeks predictions.
5 weeks of predictions. And coming in last place again, looking like Ben Askerson out here. We got Ellis Gordon.
I don't even know what to say at this point. I guess I suck at this game.
Hit rock bottom.
I won the first 2, and I've been either last or actually I came in second once, or second every single time.
Coming off surprisingly low, not his usual second place spot, we got Jacob Kasdan. What's going on, Kaz?
You know, we're slacking a little bit, a little distracted up here in the 315.
In the 3-1-5. In a very tight race, Jeremy comes in second with 16 correct matches.
Hey, what can I say? It's a story arc, We're coming from the bottom. We're going all the way up.
Very nice. And finally, the winner of the last 5 weeks, Daniel Fox.
I mean, are we really surprised at this point? They tried everything. They tried taking points away from me. They tried bombarding me. And again, I just keep winning because I know what I'm talking about. I do my research. I watch the games. And I think that's clear every time when Ellis keeps finishing in last. That's why he's America's least favorite analyst on what. And I keep finishing first. And that's why I know more than everybody. So, again, I'm a genius. Try whatever you want. I'm going to still win.
There's one piece of news that's kind of shocking the world right now that we didn't mention during the tip-off because we thought it would be appropriate to give it its own segment. So let's talk about football and the good kind. I just watched Ted Lasso on
The one with Saquon Barkley in it?
Yeah, good one. Jake.
Neither football has Saquon Barkley in it right now, buddy.
That's just not true. He's healthy, you dumbass.
All right. Well, we're going to move on and discuss the Super League, which has been one of the most important phenomena in sports in recent history. The idea of just absolute throwing away any kind of morality, just obviously for profits and just for views. And I think that this is one of the most interesting things. So we're going to have Max, our resident soccer lover, kind of break it down. So Max, what's going on with the Super League? What is it exactly?
Okay, the Super League. It's a new startup competition from Europe. When you hear startup competition in the US, you usually think about, like the CFL, XFL, or leagues like that are tiny startups of small players. The Super League is going to be different. So how soccer competitions in Europe work, you have a league generally and a tournament that most teams play in. The leagues are usually league games are usually on weekends on like Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays, but these tournament games can be throughout the week. The main tournament in Europe right now is the UEFA Champions League. And how this tournament works is there are 32 teams that go in and compete for a prize. And then there's a little feeder league below it called the UEFA Europa League. All of the best teams in Europe typically play inside these two leagues. And this is how a lot of teams make most of their money. I believe there's about 3 billion in prizes given out to all the teams participating in the UEFA Champions League and the UEFA Europa League. So what the Super League would do is it would replace the Champions League. It would be a league with ideally 20 teams. They don't have 20 teams in it yet. Some of the teams they have now are the Premier League Big Six, like Chelsea, Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Tottenham. A few big teams from Italy, like Juventus, Inter, and AC Milan, Barcelona, Madrid, and a few other smaller ones. So this league would be made up of just those teams, and then it would supplant the Champions League. So these teams would no longer participate in this big competition. And this competition, the reason these teams are joining it is because of the money there. They're giving out 3.1 billion to just the teams competing. Think about that. They're giving away less money, the Champions League is, UEFA is, to all of the teams participating in both of its leagues than compared to the Super League. So it's really obvious to see why these players would want to join.
Well, if I can just add, it's partly because of lost revenue. The Big 12 clubs that signed have lost $2 billion in revenue due to COVID. But also, just for a comparison for people who don't understand soccer, it's as if like Kentucky, Duke, all like the big Gonzaga, all the big programs in college basketball said like, nah, I'm not going to participate in March Madness. Us 16 teams, the best 16 teams in the country, are going to every year have a separate tournament, and the other teams can play in March Madness. So it's really
Ellis,
fucked up.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy, and it's just to carry it even further. It's as if those 16 teams made a league of their own, and then were not allowed to compete in any other NCAA games, right? So FIFA, so FIFA, which is the organization that runs the World Cup, and also UEFA, which runs all like the Champions League competition, both, and as well as all the domestic leagues, such as the Premier League, which is the English league, La Liga. They've all put out statements condemning this move and saying that if these teams do choose to participate in the Super League, they won't actually be able to play in any domestic or international competitions not hosted by the Super League, including the World Cup. So you're going to have all the best players on the best teams not competing in like 90% of the competitions. And again, to draw this analogy to Ellis's, it's as if all the players in the top 16 teams in the NCAA form their own league. They would be able to participate in March Madness. They would be able to participate against other colleges normally, and they also would not be able to play if on their international teams. So this would be crazy. This would uproot everything, and I'm sure Max and Jake have more to say.
Yeah, I got a quick question, Max, or for anyone, Ellis or Max. Is this like thing set in stone, like it's happening for sure?
So that they oh, you got it, Max. Sorry.
Oh, I said you got it. You do.
Okay, fine. So technically they've signed. They haven't signed. They signed a letter of intent, which is a letter of intent. But due to backlash, it's a mix of things. There's reports that due to backlash, City and Tottenham are already considering of opting out, and obviously as the more teams opt out, it's going to be. But there's also reports saying that owners expected this backlash and don't care, and they're going to go with it anyway, which I mean, just Max, do you want to get into why this is so bad? Like, this is just awful. Because I have a lot to say, but I know you probably do too. Because this is real. This is, I think everyone can agree. This is really shit. Like,
I
really.
also have one more question about it.
Yeah, sure.
How did they? Who owns the league now, and like who chose the teams that are in it?
So the teams that are in it are the highest revenue teams. The owners, the biggest billionaires, obviously, are the people making the league. The Glazer family, who actually owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well.
So Jake, to kind of answer your question, it's not that people selected who will be in there. It's a self-selecting league.
But also,
so like all the owners of these teams came together and like, let's form a team. It's not like there was one big leadership that chose them. Like
why wouldn't
real quick, they
PSG or
nominated
Bayern join then?
Well, I'll explain that in a second. They nominated Florentino Perez, who's the manager, not the manager, the president of Real Madrid, to be the president of this league. So he's going to be their president. Reason Real Madrid and Bayern doesn't work is because in their leagues, fan ownership have to own 51% of the club, where businesses can only own 49%. So they knew if it went to vote, the fans would vote it down because they don't have a majority. But now the other leagues, businesses can own whatever percentage. So in Bayern, the fans voted it down because they own 51% of the share.
I have one other question about that. So how long a contract is it for? Because what I would think is that if it's really this unpopular, there's a chance it could exist for a year or two and then be canceled because it's very unpopular.
That's possible. They don't know, but they're trying to start as soon as possible. It's not a signed contract. Obviously, the details hasn't come out quite yet, but they're taking it year by year. It sounds like.
So they're taking it year by year. So they could.
It might not even happen because like all the fans have. Literally everyone but the owners have come back in backlash. Jose Mourinho. So Klopp stood by his owner, but he said it's unfair that he's put in the position. It's rumored Mourinho got fired because he would not practice with the team this morning because of this proposed league. Now the owner said it was because of his performance, which I do get because his team hasn't been playing that well, but they literally had a final in 5 days. Who fires a coach in the final in 5 days unless it's for like insurrection? So it's called Bruno Fernandes, the star player of Man United, put out a statement saying soccer is meant for everyone. But yeah, Max, why is this so bad? Why is this such a problem?
Well, this was like a little bit of a tough comparison, but people are really big on soccer, especially in Europe. Like think about in the US, how we have 4 or 5 sports that everybody watches, like baseball, basketball, football. In the England, like France, Spain, it's only soccer. So the fans are just a lot more deep into the sport. And a lot of these clubs are more historic than a lot of teams in the US as well. Like many of the big ones have been founded in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
And middle-class workers.
Yeah, middle-class workers. So they have more like historic roots and the fans care more about them. So when they see like a bigger organization, like a big club, or like for in the case of Man U, like the Glazer family, starting to push the club out of the competitions they love watching and into like these bigger kind of more corporate kind of planned competitions, like they don't want to see it. And especially if that ruins their experience of watching the Premier League, like teams like Liverpool, Man United, Man City could potentially be kicked out of the Premier League. So that means that they would just have to leave. Like those fans couldn't have any league games to watch anymore.
That's like unthinkable. That's like unthinkable for an institution that has been rooted in the top clubs for like literally hundreds of years. Like they've been through everything, and this has been a constant. For them to be kicked out is like borderline unthinkable. For Man United not to be playing in the Premier League, like what? That's crazy. I don't know. It's hard to describe to like Americans.
Here's my problem.
Wait, hold on, Ellis. Before you go, real quick.
Yeah.
Have they announced all the teams in it?
They have.
They're still missing teams.
They're trying to get more, but they have 12 right now. But they can't get the German
Who are the 12?
6 from top 6 in Man United. Not in England. Arsenal, Tottenham. They can't even win fucking trophies. How do they get in? But anyway, Man United, all those teams. 3 from Italy. And 3 from, what am I forgetting? Spain. Atletico Madrid.
Barca, Real.
Yeah. But so here's why, in my opinion, it's really, really scummy. And I think I was talking to Ori about this on text. I think it's like straight treason by the owners because, soccer works in a pyramid. So there's like hundreds and hundreds of soccer teams that there's actually, I can tell you how much. There's 20 times 7. So there's 140 soccer teams in the competitive league, 7 tiers technically. And, the 7th tiers obviously doesn't have as much money, but so how it works is revenue comes down from Man United. It's almost like, I hate trickle down economics, but it does almost work as like a trickle down economic sense where these clubs are feeding off these big clubs. That's the beautiful thing about soccer. It's the underdog story. You get the same, that happens in American sports too, and it's a big part of American sports, but it's way more prevalent in European sports because, like, for example, last year, the 88th team faced Tottenham in the quarterfinals of a competition. The 88th team in the 5th tier. You don't get that in America or anywhere else.
It's exactly. This would be the death of meritocracy in European soccer as we know it.
This would be the death of so many tiers of soccer, so many jobs, it would devastate the industry of soccer for the support of 20.
So again, just like the beauty of soccer, I mean, not that this happens all the time, but you have like these tiny teams get to play literally the biggest teams in Europe on like a pretty regular yearly basis because they all get to play like for this one tournament, right? So if these teams decided to go into an independent league, there would be no way for them to play. It's like, so imagine like the US. In the US, a good comparison, right? A G League team would never play an NBA team unless it's like in practice or whatnot, right? Like unless like a mixer or whatnot. This happens regularly in like European soccer. And not only that, but you got like Sunday league teams like from tiny towns playing Tottenham on a regular Sunday because they have to qualify. And of course, Tottenham's going to win like 95% of the time, but you kind of live for that 5%. It gives something for people to hope for. It brings out people to the stadium. It's like a huge deal. And if they just go, it's like the American system where nobody really cares about the G League and no one's ever going to care about those little Sunday league teams, you know?
Yeah, and those Sunday league team, by the way, has as passionate support, maybe not as much, but as passionate supporters as those other teams. And from an economic perspective, even taking away the game of soccer, so many jobs will be lost just to benefit these 6 families. It is straight treason. It lets down the country, lets down the world, all for these 6 fucking families to make more money. The Glazers family, they can go fuck themselves. Of Man United, they need to get together. The Henrys, go fuck themselves. Like, this is ridiculous. Six, like, it was funny on TikTok. They're saying this is showing guys that capitalism is bad, and it's kind of true. How can six teams hold a whole industry? How can 6 human beings in one fucking massive country hold a whole fucking industry at large just because of their greed? It's ridiculous. I mean, the Glazer family. I mean, I already hate the Bucks. Now I hate them even more because the Glazers just And then fuck the Nuggets because the Nuggets are owned by by Kroenke, who's the Arsenal owner. So these 6 greedy bastards. It's just pure greed. It's not for the love of the game. It's not for anything. It's literally just for a money grab. But it's not taking anything into consideration. It's going to kill off so many jobs, so many small jobs. The underdog story will be completely gone. Gary Neville said it. It's treason. It is literally treason to the game. And especially knowing the foundation of some of these clubs founded by 1890 by fucking middle-class people just trying to get out, trying to have some entertainment. From Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, Man United, the club I love, was founded by fucking 20 miners. And now it's come to this. It's just embarrassing.
Miners being like the occupation, like because Manchester is like a town, an industrial town. Yeah. It's not to be confused with people under 18.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Good point, Ori. But like, it's really, really awful, really sad. Just it's really disgusting. I've never seen anything like this, and yeah, this is the biggest fuck you to capitalism that there ever was.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a little bit more optimistic than Ellis, just because Man City, despite like them being good right now, has not always had like a history as rich as Man United. And boy, does that hurt to say. No. Yeah.
A club like Man City could not be here today if this happens.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I'm a little more optimistic, but that's only because of where my club is right now. Because Man City made 20 years ago, they were like on the brink of relegation at some point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole point. Like, imagine then if this proposal would happen, Man City would be stuck in the shit league, and then you're like, which would be the Prem right now, and Man United and like Arsenal, and Liverpool would all be in this Super League of the 80s, you know. So it's all a matter of perspective. But right now, I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what it would look like, and I know I'm in the minority, like pretty much everywhere.
Also, it's the thing too is it's fan from a competition standpoint, it'll be more competitive. But the fan, okay, think about the fans who go to these tickets now. You can't go on a weekday to fucking not Germany, to Italy or Spain. You just can't. The average fan can't do that. It's going to ruin the fan experience as well because you can only go see your team once every 2 weeks now instead of twice a week if you really wanted to. Some of these fans have been with been with their team for so long, man, especially in the Manchester area. I mean, Manchester is not the most, it's not a bougie area. It's very industrial. Some of these fans, they can't afford plane rides to Spain every week so they can see their team play. It's really gross, is what it is. It's really gross and leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
It sucks, but the problem is there's just not necessarily much we can do about it.
Well, FIFA is trying to say you can't. Yeah. Well, if there's enough backlash and FIFA's saying
the World Cup's the one big thing they have over them.
Yeah.
The sad reality is these big leagues are very important to the little leagues aren't necessarily as important to the big leagues. And I'm not saying that necessarily makes it fair or right, but I think that's kind of what happens with capitalism, right? It's all very much based around you need other people. And in this case, they just don't necessarily need these smaller teams because all the big money comes from the games to the big teams. So it probably will. I'm not saying that to justify it. I agree.
You're just saying this is kind of like inevitable when it comes to capitalism. I mean, I
don't know if that's necessarily inevitable, but it is not something that necessarily surprises me.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to say it's kind of funny that like endemically corrupt organization like FIFA is the only thing standing between.
I was actually.
I think we like our only really hope here to actually see something done about it is really with the players, and if the players take a stand here against these clubs that are doing this.
I haven't seen many players taking a stand.
Bruno gave us the excellent quote of
because they can get fired. Mourinho got fired.
He's out here fighting. But like, if the players like don't want to give up their spots at like let's say the Euros this summer, they could like stand up and say maybe push us back a year, or we're not ready to do this now. And who knows? Maybe that's all that we need to like get rid of this or push it like infinitely far away.
Add something in. I think that any system that makes soccer have less games is enjoyable for me.
Mute him.
So what I think we can all agree on is we're pretty much on the precipice of football history. Like regardless of which way this goes, the fact that this was like a show of force on one side, and whether it happens or not. Whether it happens if it happens, it would be insane. Like I think everything changes in pretty much all capacity. Even happens like halfway, and you get some sort of compromise that like some of the teams get to go to the Super League some of the time. Like that would still be insane. But I think that even if it doesn't happen, we kind of really see a shift into less of a club focus and more of an ownership focus. And you hate to see that. But it's kind of what we come to this point. There's an expression in soccer where like you're the gate. I don't remember it exactly, but like the owner is not the owner per se, but he's like the loaner, if that makes sense. Like he has the team for a bit, but ultimately he owns it to the fan base and to the club itself. And it's kind of a temporary position where you get to kind of hold power, but you transfer back to the club eventually. And I think we're kind of seeing a shift away into that. And kind of a natural evolution, as Jeremy brought up. So I know Daniel's kind of sick of talking about soccer, but is there anything else you guys want to add? I mean, this is just one thing.
I find it funny that all these clubs that hate each other are coming together, which is nice to see. But which is it's nice to see, and it's good that people are taking a stand. And I think if there's enough backlash, it can be stopped. If it doesn't get ratings, they're not going to continue it. So I hope that happens for the economy and just for football altogether.
Okay, just one last question. I want to ask Ellis and Max. Yeah, go ahead, Jeremy. Actually,
I was gonna say I think that's honestly the real question is that will get to the point where fans say they won't watch this movie.
So, Jeremy, that was my question's going to be. Ellis and Max, if you guys, like, if this happens, would you guys watch it? I would say 100% I'd watch it.
It's hard because I mean,
Why wouldn't you watch it? It's like the 12
It's
best
because-
teams in the world playing against
it's
each other.
treason.
It's because on principle, but I say fuck principle. I want to see like this kind of action every week, and I think it would
I'll
be
say-
fascinating.
Well,
Do you
think
know
about
who
it if you're like a
Mark
Tottenham fan. And
Well,
like,
first off,
you're
Max is-
like 6th in the Prem. Like, are you really gonna want to see Tottenham?
Yeah.
In my opinion, Ellis-
by City
Real
and
quick,
like
a couple-
Barcelona and Madrid.
Ellis. So in my opinion, you're putting the Chiefs, you're putting the Packers, you're putting the Giants, you're putting all these great teams into a division.
You're
You're watching them play. I would 100% watch that.
But then
Jacob,
what
Somebody's gonna be the
if you
Jets
couldn't
in
watch
that
any
division,
of the
though.
other
Somebody's still
teams?
gonna be the Jets. Somebody's still gonna suck,
The
bro.
Giants are getting relegated though, dude.
Okay, yeah, a few things. Tottenham and Arsenal, they can't even make top 5 in their own league just because they got money. They literally suck. What qualification? Putting Leicester in this league? Come on now. Like, what qualification is fucking Arsenal can't ties to Fulham? Like, focus on beating Fulham before you focus on beating Bayern Munich. You know. But I think this is why 50 you need fan ownership of teams, and I think that's why it's just important to have. Instead of fucking Glazer family. All they bring is shit to the world. The Bucks and now ruining United. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, one last point I want to just make for everybody watching is that the funding is already there for this league. Like, JP Morgan's behind it. They've agreed to fund it. All the teams want to pay for this. Like, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna happen unless something gets done about it, or unless people really stand up. So it's kind of worst case scenario for every single soccer fan out here.
Yeah, exactly. The money is there. So, like, you know,
Let's rise up. The communism. The land.
I mean, this
Ship me on
fucking
a train.
soccer
Ship me on a plane to England.
Let's get this shit.
All right. Watch as I stall for 1 second. Do. Our wacky sport of the week is conquer smashing. I was just building up momentum, clearly.
sorry,
what
is this the Mongol Empire?
That's a good one. Ori.
Conquer and we smash.
I like the history reference there. What is a conquer? What is a smashing? So conquer is a nut, and it comes from a chestnut tree, and it's shut up, Ori. And it's threaded onto a piece of string, and I think you can tell by the title what you do with that nut. And what you do with the nut is to break the other player's conquer or nut. So you have to smash the nut, and you have to break it on the string. And the first person who breaks the nut, which is pretty hard, wins. Only equipment for the sport are conkers and laces.
Jesus Christ.
One player called the receiver holds the end of the lace, on which his conker hangs while the striker swings his conker to smash receiver's conker.
There's no way this is the real sport.
Conker is not meant to be conquer. It's conquer. But anyway, a game starts with a coin toss to decide the first receiver and the striker. And players switch roles after every 3 strikes, and it's pretty much kind of like a strong
So just kind of to recap, there is conquering, there's nutting, there's lace,
smash.
and there's
Smash the hardest
smashing,
nut.
and
You
there's
smash the
ropes.
hardest nut till it breaks. Till it busts. You smash the hardest nut till it busts. Anyway, once the nut busts,
Hold on. Do you smash 2 nuts or just a singular nut?
well, each team has 1 nut. Anyway,
What's gonna fucking
the first person who smashes the nut wins. Clearly. And who busts the nut wins. And if the game goes beyond 5 minutes, each player gets 9 final strikes, from which one with the most strikes for the one, like whoever takes the longest loses, and whoever takes the first busts the first. And
Sounds like Ellis is gonna win.
maybe competition, 2 players play head to head, and it's obviously like it's a round. It's like a bracket
Wait,
tourney.
sorry,
So
Ellis, you play head to head?
yeah, it's head to head. It's a bracket tourney, and winner goes in the finals. I'm trying to figure out what you get for the finals. Doesn't sound like much except for a small cash stipulation for busting a nut. And so pretty much it happens every year in England, and 500 players partake from 13 participating countries. So yeah, that is our wacky sport of the week. And let us move on.
I think that might have
That
been
might be the wackiest sport.
I think that might have been the wackiest sport we've ever done.
full with innuendos, but yeah, let's move on to The conclusion of the podcast. All
All
right.
right, Ellis, you missed a really good pun. It's inundated with innuendos. I had to do it. So go ahead, Ellis.
All right. Let's move on to the conclusion of the podcast. The boys are almost back in person. This is exciting news. Not for you guys. You don't care, but still got to mention it. Maybe we'll have an in-person podcast again like the good old days before COVID ruined it all. Yeah, vaccines out. Go get those vaccinations.
Wait, the vaccine's out?
Yeah, eligible for 16 plus as of today. I know.
Oh, shit.
I know. It's wild news. Or you know how we got those muscles? The vaccine.
Guys, remember, the vaccines are perfectly not a microchip. They're not going to hurt you at all.
I feel like we've run this bit for every week now, and it gets only better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hey, also, if your phone coverage sucks, like get a vaccine, man. It'll help you out a little bit. It's an extra fast Wi-Fi.
Anyway, but yeah, so follow our Instagram at wat.podcast. That's wot.podcast, all lowercase. And for Photoshop, you always know when new episodes are out. Follow our Twitter, same thing. Plus Dan live reacts game whenever he gets his lazy ass to it. And that's also CAST.
I'm waiting for the Yankees to be good. Once the Yankees are good, I'll start live.
Oh, well, then you're not going to tweet all season, which I expected. So capital
That's
W.
not true.
CAST.
Look, we've got 13 games. We're going 10-3 in our next 13 games.
Okay, I'm a Yankees fan. I don't know. That's not true. Anyway, subscribe to our YouTube at Who's on Top. That's WHO_S TOON TOP. I forgot the ON again. So who's top?